What's going on, guys? Larry here, doing another video of splits that I like. But today it's not generally a split I'm going to talk about, but more of a way to train. And I'm going to talk about full body training, the ins, the outs of it, the whys, the hows, and all that good stuff. And I'll even give you a couple of resources in the description of the video to help you progress and to help you set up your own full body training. If not outright, follow something that will help you. But as always, like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be bringing you a ton more content, and I just can't wait to be cranking it out to you, especially with how I'm getting ready for Ramadan, which is very different from years past. But that's a whole other different story. But today, full body training. Why do we do it? Give you a brief history of it. Full body training is not new. This is how they used to train in the old days, you know, the Eugene Sandow days. The earliest form of really organized, mass-produced, and published full body training was peripheral heart action training, PHA training, by, I believe he was a Mr. America, Bob Gadja, out of Chicago, as a matter of fact. So that is the earliest, and then if you want to fast forward a few years, we get into Arthur Jones and high intensity training, full body training that goes on for quite a while, well into the 90s, with Ellington Darden consistently publishing books that emphasize full body, high intensity style training. So, but now we're back into it. It's 2023, and you know, full body training has kind of made a resurgence. I remember when I came up to Omaha from my previous job, I followed a full body program. That link is in the description of Fortitude Training. That's a very unique way to do full body training that's been made by Dr. Scott Stevenson. So, but today, let's talk about the general stuff with full body training. So what's the main thing that this does? It increases your fitness level. So for a lot of people who are new to the gym, have no base conditioning, have very poor conditioning, this is a good way to get them going. Now, the beauty of full body training is that it can be done with machines, it can be done with barbells, it can be done with dumbbells, it can be done with a combination of all three. But the main thing is that it increases the fitness level so you can push your training to a higher level. So why do we want to have a good fitness level? Because it allows us to be able to recover from handling some heavy weights. It allows us to be able to handle the lactic acid buildup. A good fitness level is very vital to people putting on size and to elevating their gains in the gym even more. So that's why full body training is good for an increase in fitness level. Number two, good way to lose fat. A lot of calories being burned using a lot of compound exercises, a combination of isolation exercises. You're worried about tempo, all that good stuff. It's a good way to burn fat. Keeping rest periods low, you're elevating that heart rate. Again, an excellent way to burn fat without having to feel like you're a hamster on a treadmill, which is what a lot of us do when we're getting ready for shows. But if you want to change in the off season, get a little bit lean, increase that fitness level, that's a good way to burn fat. I'll actually probably be going to a full body routine here after Ramadan, but that's still to be decided at a future date. Base builder for split training. This kind of coincides with number one. When you get to a certain level of strength, that's when you can start to drop the full body routines, if you don't do it prior. Again, it's a good base builder, but it's not the end all be all. You have to know how to manage your fatigue and all that good stuff. But again, it's a good base for split training. Once you get into split training, then the assumption is that you've built up a relatively decent amount of strength where you have to go to split training. Okay? So keep that in mind. Personally, the way I like to set up full body training is to start big and finish small. So what do we mean by that? Starting big, your bigger body parts are going to get slammed first. So you're going to select an exercise for quads, an exercise for back, an exercise for chest. And then you're going to work small. You're going to hit shoulders, you're going to hit arms, forearms, and calves, right? So conceivably, If your calves suck like mine, you start out at the beginning of the session doing some calf raises, right? And then you progress to the quad exercise that you want. Now, the way I set up a full body routine is that I'm looking at it from an older individual's perspective. Being in my 40s, I can't go straight into squats, right? Can't do that. But I can warm up really well and get into a leg press. I can warm up really well and get into a hack squat. I can warm up really well and get into a belt squat, but I cannot put a bar on my back and warm up really well with that. It just doesn't feel good. So when I'm writing this from an older perspective. So generally, I'll put in some type of exercise before the big quad exercise, but that increases the volume. We'll get to that in a minute. So when I'm starting big, I'm usually looking at 2 exercises for quads, 1 for hamstring. So that's my lower body. The volume on those, we'll get into that later, is that I'll do 2 to 3 sets for that particular body part. Okay? Now, hamstrings will get 2 to 3, quads will get 2 to 3 work sets. We're not counting the warm-up sets. When you're warming up, I like to usually do 1 very high rep set, another moderate rep set, maybe a couple of feeler sets, and then I get into my work stuff because I want to push that work stuff to the max. I want to push it to where I'm close to safe failure. I don't train with a training partner, so I have to go to safe failure. So that may look like 2 to 3 reps in reserve or whatever we're using these days to gauge effort in the gym. But that's what it looks like for me. If you have a training partner, you want to push to failure, but you definitely want to keep that volume down on the 1 to 2 set range. All right, because you want to be able to recover, because you got a lot of exercises that you have to go through to be able to complete this full body. Finish small. So when I talk about finishing small, I don't believe you need to slam those body parts with a lot of weight at that point. When you hit your chest, when you hit your back, when you hit your legs, your arms and shoulders are pretty much sufficiently warmed up. So how are we going to accomplish putting size on them without destroying the joints going through extra heavy weight? We're going to use that carryover and we're going to go isolation. So we're probably going to go high rep on machine laterals or dumbbell laterals. You're going to go high rep on your cable curls, your barbell curls, and then you're going to go high rep on your triceps, your extensions, your press downs, things of that nature. All right. When you get into split routines, that's when you can train the arms a little bit heavier. But right now, with full body, you're just trying to get a pump on. They're going to get big from the auxiliary work that you're doing, or from the main work that you're doing. So you don't want to do a ton of auxiliary work to try to put size on your arms, okay? So please keep that in mind. It's semi-easy to overtrain the arms, and I'm talking to myself on this because it looks like I'm training arms twice a week when I'm doing push and pull, but that's neither here nor there right now. Not for specialization. This is not an exercise sequencing. This is not a training style that lends itself to special body part improvement. This improves the totality of your physique and fitness level. So if you're going to do a full body routine, know that generally, at least in my opinion, they're not good for specialization. All right. If you want to go into specialization, that's when the split routines come in. All right. But again, that comes with a certain amount of mass. That comes with a certain amount of strength. Okay. So please keep in mind that this is not for specialization. Volume should be on the low end. Let's go back to volume a little bit. So if I'm doing 3 sets for hamstrings, 3 working sets for hamstrings, or 2 to 3 working sets for hamstrings, and then I do another 2 to 3 working sets for quads, let's keep it at 3 working sets, right? So every workout I'm doing, if I'm doing 3 sessions a week, which is pretty decent, if I'm doing 3 sessions a week, that's 3, 6, that's 9 sets, all right? That's probably the max of what you want to have as far as volume goes for your high intensity training. Some even go lower than that. I know Jordan Peters, who's linked to full body training, I will link in the description. He goes lower. So what I want you guys to understand is that the volume has to be on the low end, because you're doing so much work in a given workout, you're not going to be able to recover. So 3 is on the high end. 3 working sets is on the high end if you have, excellent recovery. You ain't got no stress. You just coasting along. Life's good. But if you can't swing it, if you can do it, I know mentally I can't, so that's why I don't do it. 1 set to absolute failure. Leave it all on the gym floor. All right? You're going to failure and beyond. You're trying to, if you have a logbook, you're trying to beat that logbook every week. But I'm telling you guys, if you're gonna do the full body program, the volume has to be on the low end. You have to be able to recover from this work. Non-consecutive days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Those are the days that you want to do. We don't want to go full body on consecutive days. I speak from experience. You will beat yourself to death. You will beat the shit out of yourself. Don't do it. Trust me. I don't have to have a study. Trust me, you do not want to do full body on consecutive days. All right? That's a lot of work and not a lot of recovery time to be able to get those adaptations that you need to progress for the next workout. Which progress on this type of training style is difficult to get first anyway. So there we go. Run it for about 4 to 6 weeks, then deload. The deload is important. It is very important. Your volume is already on the low end. So what I recommend people to do is they just pull the weight down, pull the reps back, don't go to failure, cut your volume in half. Yes, I know the volume's already low, but you're going to cut it in half even more for your recovery capacity to catch back up. Guys, when we're doing full body training, when you're in the gym and you're leaving it out on the floor, you do not want to outkick your recovery coverage. All right? It's very important that these blocks of training that you're doing build on top of one another. That's how we grow. That's how we get better. That's how we get a better fitness level. Everything that we do is built, and is built into a building. You got your base, and on top of your base you put the first floor. And on top of the first floor you put the second, third, fourth, fifth, so on and so forth. Everything should be consecutive. That's why a long-term periodization plan works. All right? Now it's just a plan. Life happens, shit comes up, adjust accordingly. But always know that you want to generally run for something about 4 to 6 weeks and then deload. And I'm contradicting myself, but we'll get into that into the other video of how I'm getting ready for Ramadan. So these are the basics from my vantage point on full body training. I have a book or a PDF that I wrote based off one of my favorite characters on Mortal Kombat, Project Jax. That is available for free from my WordPress. The link for the download is in the description. Please download it, try it out. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. That's @TenacityStrength. Or DM me on Twitter @TenacityStrong. Now, I would be remiss in, again, not mentioning the people who put full body training into my vision. That would be Dr. Scott Stevenson, that would be Jordan Peters. Mainly Scott Stevenson for the simple fact that I followed him from his Intense Muscle days when he was a moderator over there. So I've known Scott or known of Scott for quite a while. And Fortitude training kind of opened my eyes up to a greater way of how full body training can be utilized. And then back when I was an undergrad, even in community college, I was following Jordan Peters religiously, and he's just a guy that proves that you can get big and strong off of full body training if you structure it correctly. All right? My way in Project Jax will probably not be the preferred way that Jordan runs it, or Scott Peters or Scott Stevenson runs it. It is the way that I do it, and it's based off of an old school football program. All right. Another thing about full body training is that everyone can do it. Literally everyone can do it. And you just structure it to your needs. Again, it's not for specialization, but it can be manipulated to what you want. So don't be afraid to get into the gym, put in a little sweat equity, and reap the benefits of full body training. So I hope this video helped you. I hope this video blessed you. If you can, please like, subscribe to the channel. Next video I'll be doing will either probably be a training video or a video of how I'm getting ready for Ramadan. Actually, I'll probably do that next week. We'll definitely do that next week since we'll be a week closer to the holy month. I'm very tired physically, so it's going to be interesting what will happen after Ramadan and also leading up to it. But that's for another day. So thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. Again, like, subscribe to the channel. I'm thankful for every subscription I get, for every comment I get, good or bad. I'm here to help and service you guys. So if there's anything that you want me to talk about, anything that you think that is in my expertise, I would love to talk about it. I would love to give my vantage point. I've been under the bar for a long time. So hopefully you guys will get something out of it. But until then, you take care. Have a great week.